Damn these Biloxi blues, it happens every night. And I ain't never met a riverboat dealer that could ever be a friend of mine.
I have not.
The summer heat never treats me kind, it leaves trouble on my mind. So I'm bidding farewell, putting in my notice, and I'll see you at another time.
Sing.
This highway does not know my name, and I don't care.
No.
I don't care. Heading my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare.
Right to the dadgum hook.
Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.
Low budget live, not so live from the LBL Bar and Grill Bar and Bunker. Beautiful Middle Tennessee. And welcome, you bunch of dang low-lifers. If you are new to the program, you are new. And you're wondering, why is this man calling me a low-lifer? Well, that is what the listeners of this fine program call themselves weekly, the low-lifers. So welcome. And that is a song written by me, sung by me, called Biloxi Blues, which just so happens to be the walk-up music from my dude Kriegs, Kobe Krieger, leading the Bassmaster Elite series after 2 days. And this is the podcast for Monday, March the 22nd. Of course, we're recording on Sundays because that's what we do. That's what we do to get it to you on a Monday morning. And the Bassmasters is supposed to be over with down in Florence, Alabama, but it is miscombobulated and now has 2 more days to go. But Kobe Krieger is on top, and he's just feeling it, walking out to that Biloxi Blues on the home pond. Pretty impressive seeing what those guys are doing down there on the Tennessee River, dealing with some adverse conditions. But been dealing with some adverse conditions myself, guys. Been a pretty cool last few days. I got to go down to Smith Lake with the crew for a few days of beating my head against a flooded rock down there. Spring break with the kids. We left out on Thursday afternoon late. Fished Friday, Saturday, a little bit this morning. I'm a little wind burnt. I'm a little sunburnt. And I don't know. Smith Lake came up 7 feet, I think, almost 7 feet in like 24 hours. Crazy. Place like a bathtub. It always does that after a big rain. But got to run around down there with Hudson in the boat mainly. And so cool. I got to brag. I got to have a proud dad moment to open LBL. And I tried to get him to come on the podcast this week. But he's outside playing wiffle ball, and I don't blame him because we've been fishing. But dude is coming into his own at 13. It's just like his own angler. He's making decisions on his own. But the coolest thing that I got to brag, house we were staying at was about a mile away. It's about a mile away from the closest boat ramp. And Thursday, of course, I let him drive all the time, and he runs the trolling motor a lot now, and really starting to get more and more comfortable with the boat. And I said, hey, man, I'll put you in, and, do you feel comfortable driving the boat to the house? So I parked the truck, and we got in, and we went and found the house. No turns, just on the main lake there, not far from the ramp. And I said, do you feel comfortable doing this? So he's like, yeah, well, let me drive you back, and then I'll come back. So he drove us down, lets me out. And, man, I got to be honest, like, short of letting him out at kindergarten and Ryder, like, their first days, pulling out of a parking lot and watching him in a Wrapped Express go around the corner by himself is pretty heavy. Not going to lie. But, man, he took off. He did great. He beat us there by a couple of minutes and was waiting there, smiling ear to ear. Such a cool moment, and for me and for him, and he he's 13. I'm not cool anymore. So Doesn't mean as much when Dad brags on you, but man, it was just, I was beaming and was so excited to see him excited. But yeah, we had an awesome weekend, caught some spotted bass, kind of scouting around a little bit for that Bassmaster Open, but lots got to change. Lots got to change down there. The water's going to come flying out of there, have a feeling this week. Smith Lake, of course, very residential, so they're not going to leave the water up very long. But school, we were coming home from Smith. My dad and my brother were sending us pictures from Wilson Lake, and just so happens we have to go right by there. Next lake up from Pickwick on the Tennessee River, and we didn't have long because I was going to record a podcast this afternoon and had a guest lined up, and so Hudson's like, "Dad, can we please stop? Man, we've been going hard for like 4 days almost." I'm like, "Yeah, we can." So we pull in there and catch a couple. I caught a 6-pounder, boat flipped that sucker out on a sea deck. And the boys lost their mind. It was cool. So they couldn't get enough, and I'm very grateful for it. So very, very, very proud dad, to say the least. So I had to share that with all you low-lifers. All that y'all are, fish with your kids. Y'all understand. Y'all get it. If you don't have kids yet, you will understand it when you do. Because he's so far ahead of where I was at that age. And it's just so cool to see. And he just genuinely loves it and thanks me for taking him fishing. And it's pretty awesome, man. It's pretty stinking awesome. So grateful. I'm also grateful for the fine sponsors that we work with here on Low Budget Live. Starting things off right here with the oldest, the OGs, if you will, on LBL. The fine folks from StarTron and Starbright down out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. StarTron kicking ethanol in the teeth for years and years and years and years. You don't want ethanol in your gas tank. You don't want it in your weed eater. You don't want it in your affecting your outboard. You don't want it in your daggum pickup truck. So get you a blue bottle like this. Shake it up good. I actually don't think that's in the directions, but I do that on the show. So you are allowed to shake your StarTron. Shake it up. Little dab will do you right there in the tank. Kick ethanol in the teeth. Get it out of there. Weed eater, pressure washer. Pressure wash. I can barely say that. Because I hate it so much. But I just know that time is coming, right? It's springtime and everybody gets those honeydew lists, and I know that's going to be on mine, and I'm just not looking forward to that. But weed eater, chainsaw, your side-by-side, whatever the case may be, little dab will do you. Get you some StarTron, kick ethanol in the teeth. Sims fishing products. We absolutely wore out some Sims toboggans, gloves, the freaking rain suit this weekend. Golly, man. It's been, it was just cold. It was cold. Got cold in North Alabama and had been beautiful. Of course, I made some Instagram stories, but hey, let's go on spring break. And then, of course, it just, weather just took a dive. We went from warm to tornadoes to flooding to cold. And that is typically kind of how it goes in March and April around southern Tennessee and North Alabama. But we definitely broke out some Sims goodness this weekend. And this week I got to wear shorts. And earlier in the week, shorts and freaking hooded sun shirts and just solar flexing on them. But unfortunately, this weekend been bundled up, and hopefully it'll get warm before that Smith Lake Bassmaster Open, because I want it to be in the 80s. And no more cold mornings, damn it. Let's go. Let's get away from that. So I am here to remind all of you low-lifers that you get one life. Fish it well. Go check out the Sims website. I promise you there's something for everybody on there, some really great gear. Pro Guide batteries, I have once again spent about 3 or 4 days standing on those things. And I'll tell you one that is something I don't believe in, something I don't do, but I did not charge my batteries every night at Smith. And the reason being was there was no electrical outlet on the dock. I left my boat in the water, left the X21 tied up down there. And I actually backed way up close to the house one day and power pulled down to charge during the day one day, but I didn't. And I cannot run these batteries dead. I'm also running that power pull charge this year, but really, really loving those Pro Guide AGMs, and they got some special goods coming your way very soon. But if you would like to get you some AGM batteries from the fine folks at Pro Guide, use LBL10 at checkout for a discount. And last but not least, right here, love it more every day. The official boat of low budget live in the traveling circus, the Express X21 Pro. Cannot say enough about it, y'all. Cannot say enough about it. I know I'm a salesman. I know everybody's like, you're sponsored. I promise you, without a shadow of a doubt, I've never owned a bass boat I love more. Ever. I love everything about this boat. Can't find it. Truly, you have to, like, when you sit down and think, well, are there negatives? Like, I can't find a negative. For me, for the way I fish, man, it's a really, 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 really awesome boat. And, manufactured by awesome people. Awesome people. And I can't wait to put it in even more situations. But wind and rough and freaking shallow and deep and in and out of boat docks and boat flipping fish on sea deck and running a dang Yamaha, 70 miles an hour, great fuel economy, like with the weight of the boat and everything, man, whole shot is insane. But if you're in the market for a boat, go check out the fine folks from Express, that X21, X19. I promise you, they got a lot more models than that. Those are the two bass boats that are like rocket ships that I think that you would definitely enjoy. And let them know that I sent you. Express boats have been building excitement since 1966. All right, moving on. Speaking of Express excitement, Bill Lowen. I kicked off the show by talking about Krieger, but I got to talk about Bill Lowen. Bill sneaking up on Mr. Krieger after day two, of course, at the Bassmaster Elite Series, Florence, Alabama. And, it's one of those deals, guys. This tournament is not going like I thought it would, but that is typically, I think I've said on here multiple times, depending on the water, this tournament. They're cracking on them, but it is not the event I thought it would be. They're not surprising me where they're catching them, how they're catching them, being a local. But I was down there last Monday. Water was like 6 feet, 7 feet low. Of course, flooding. The water comes up, the current comes with it, and lots of things have changed. So Kobe Krieger leading it with some mixed bags, freaking beautiful fish. Been fun watching it all play out on FS1, and I've been watching as much of it as I can because it's the home pond, and you got to home crowd represent down there. But Lowen, could this be it? Could he get his first win? His weight's got better. Kobe's went down. Of course, you guys are going to be listening to this on day 3, and they're going to have a championship Tuesday this week. So definitely lots of interesting scenarios. The tail race fishing is it's legendary. Man, I grew up doing it. I love fishing current. It's really cool to see it getting showcased. Some of the biggest community, the locals around here are not surprised by what's going on up there. But, man, these guys are putting it on the line, and it's really cool. It's been fun to watch. Something that wasn't cool to watch, I wanted to bring up, it's kind of shocking in this day and age to me. And yesterday I got to watch a good bit and watch Chris Zaldane up there in the horseshoe area below the floodgates. Just, he really struggled at times, caught him at times, and that's just the nature of that area. Was primarily by itself. There was a few boats around, but this morning he goes up there in the morning of day 2, and he can't even cast because there are guys in his way that are in the event. And it's really surprising. I was looking at the photo gallery, and I'm not going to just call everybody out. Zaldane, y'all can go look at the photo galleries if you want to, but I don't know, man. You see where a dude catches 21 pounds. I just don't get that in 2021, when there are live cameras, that people still think that's a good idea, just to go snipe on somebody. I don't know. You could tell Chris was frustrated early this morning. He ended up catching enough to be in the top 10, but just you hate to see that because the guy sticks it out on day 1 when other people don't, and then other people struggle, and then there they come. I don't know. I was actually texting with a friend of mine earlier today, like, is there a rule that can be written? It's an unwritten rule. Like, you shouldn't do it. You're a dick if you do it. Like, if you go in where a dude's in the top 5, like, and you didn't catch him, you suck. Like, that's just kind of bottom line. If you didn't catch him there day 1, just go on. Find your own deal. That's always kind of been the unwritten rule. But should there be a written rule? Y'all comment. If you're watching on YouTube, comment. Because it would be a hard one to police. And if you catch them, you could use it to an advantage that somebody couldn't come in. There's been several variations over the years. You can't get within 50 yards. You can't get within 50 yards if somebody's anchored with the trolling motor up. Lots of different rules over time. But you know what? I don't know. I don't know how nobody owns the water, right? We see it with locals too. We saw it, John Soukup down at Ufall. Locals came in, saw him catching them, came in on him. Just pirates, Jack Sparrows all around. But what do you think? What do the low-lifers think? I wish there was some kind of rule. I don't know. Obviously it could negatively affect, say, number one, and this is just throwing out dream scenarios, but number one and number two sitting side by side. If there's something written that you can't go near a leader, you can't, I don't know. I'm just saying it gets really old. And it happens at all levels of tournament fishing, and it happens off camera way more than it does on camera, right? There's no, any of y'all listen to this at fish tournaments, and if you're listening, most likely you do or keep up with it. This happens all the time. It happens too much. And there are scavengers everywhere. But, I fish a lot where Zaldane was at. And it was cool seeing him figure it out. And Krieger's up there as well, but not, in Zaldane's, general vicinity. But, dude, Zaldane got to his first area. He could not cast where he was casting yesterday because there were, 2 other elite boats there. No. I don't know. And one of the dudes made the cut. And he's made some adjustments today on social media. It's did you make adjustments? It looked like you did on FS1. It looked like you made a really key adjustment. I don't know, man. It's interesting to see. No shame in some people's game, I guess, to say the least. All right, we got a Cox watch. Cox watch. Cox and cornrows. Not even, I'm going to be honest with you, not even sure who did it. I know Mercer will take credit for it, but it looked like his daughter might have done it. I want to take a look at something here real fast But on Cox watch, this one's interesting. So John, obviously any schedule hiccups are going to throw John for a freaking loop. Day one at Pickwick, he struggled. 1 fish. That is really rare. John bounced back today with 5 that weighed 13.5. Just look that up. Look at that right here. But so he ended the tournament in 79th place. Even had John made the cut, he was going to have to leave because he has to compete at Sam Rayburn tomorrow in the BPT. Yeah, let that soak in. This is what a schedule hiccup can do to John's year. He's fishing every bass tournament except for NPFL, which we pointed out last week. There's another John Cox still going on. There's still 2 John Coxes this week. I know. But John is fishing everything but NPFL. And now he is driving through the night tonight, long freaking ways. Don't even really know how he's going to do it. But he's going to roll up at Big Sam tomorrow and fish day 2, Group B for Bass Pro Tour. If you don't think that's commitment, you're wrong. I'll tell you another one about John real quick. Uncharacteristic, bad finish for John. Doesn't do that often. 1 fish first day. When they canceled, John's staying with a dear friend of mine, David Allen. When they canceled, John was like, I don't know what I'm going to do today. Oh, I'm going to go to Neely Henry because I've never seen it. John left Florence, drove 2.5 hours to practice Neely Henry because he'd never seen it. This dude is next level, guys. Next freaking level. So it'll be interesting to see how Coxwatch does out there at Sam Rayburn. Big John, Cornrow John. BPT kicked off at Big Sam. And very weird, man. 10 pounds, 4 fish for 10 pounds. Wesley Strader was in 20th with that. That is shocking, honestly. Even though Rayburn's getting the crap kicked out of it right now. Maybe it's the weather. I don't know. Maybe I'm sure it'll get better. But Spencer Sheffield led day 1, Group A. He's one of those few invitees from the Big 5 FLW tour, RIP FLW, that just get to fish one event. So I think it's from the title event. I'm still kind of confused, but no shocker to see Spencer Sheffield leading anything at this point. He's a dude that fished really when I first started fishing co-anglers fishing, of course, the son of the great Ron Sheffield from Bassmaster and FLW fame, but left, kind of would catch him a little bit, but then left the tour, came back, and dude, he's been hotter than a firecracker, and this guy is going to be one to watch for a long time to come. I have a feeling he's making a lot of noise. Is going to continue to, but he's leading it, of course. Dustin Connell right there with him. Shocker. Some dudes, there's 3 dudes behind him. Some guy named, last name Van Dam, Defoe, and Evers. Edwin Evers, are behind him. So no pressure, Spencer. It's going to be interesting. I talked to Dudley. He said it was actually decent in practice. So I think Double D goes out tomorrow. So going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. But WTF, Rayburn, get your freaking get your weights up. Jeez, Pickwick's making you look stupid right now, Big Sam Rayburn. All right, it was a mouthful. It was a lot. So I'm going to have a guy on today that I just had on not long ago, but I really felt like I owed it to him to be on LBL and tell his story from his historic win at Lake Eufaula in the National Professional Fishing League. This guy absolutely blew my mind. The first time I ever talked to him on the phone, I was like, he's dialed. Like, he is so freaking dialed. And then to watch it play out, I got to watch, obviously, all 3 days of live coverage, commentating that event, and just watching him practice what he preaches. Incredible. And then, seeing him overcome adversity on the last day to come back and get a victory. This dude's going to be a household name before 2021's over. I promise you, you're going to hear me say John Soukup way too many times for your ears this year. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me via Zoom, John Soukup. From the side of the road on his way to Texas, John.
Where my wife found me.
Is it really? On the side of the road?
That's pretty much. That's what she'll do.
John, I've never met your wife, but I've met you, and I kind of believe that. For sure, buddy. So you were just telling me you're at a Dairy Queen, just having a celebratory shake still.
I'm still celebrating. I'm still, no alcohol for me. It's just all about the sugar, Yeah. I got myself 1 week of sugar celebration, and then it's probably back to no sugar.
So before we get into anything fishing, what's the go-to John Soukup milkshake? What's the go-to?
So I'm going to tell you, I got the strawberry banana. That's been me since I was a kid.
Okay.
But I will tell you that I celebrated in an odd way the night driving home after the win. I stopped at this gas station. I was standing in line, the 6 foot apart thing. And I looked down next to the candy bars, and I hadn't had one forever, but I saw my late father's favorite candy bar, which was a Butterfinger. And, me and Dad ate that Butterfinger on the way home.
That's awesome, man. That gave me chills,
yeah.
man. That's awesome, dude. So I know he would have been proud, man, to win not only at the professional level, but to win an inaugural event.
Oh yeah, it's in the record books now, man. It's stamped. It's there.
Yeah, they can't take it away from you, and I don't think anybody's going to take that trophy away. The dang thing is large and in charge. I saw you post a real cool picture from the Bass Tank. All you Oklahoma boys with your trophies. Y'all had a pretty good second week of March there.
Yeah, man. The Bass Tank team. Zeke Anderson, who's our sales rep, who's my crappie tournament partner, and Kyle Cordiana, who is a Bass Tank guy. We all went to Union High School together. We actually started a fishing club our junior year in high school. And now, obviously, we work at the Bass Tank, and Kyle's one of our pro staffers. The same week, the same day, I won the NPFL Zeke won a crappie masters it's a national crappie tour, but he didn't just win it. He set the record high 2-day weight, him and his partner Dylan Hackler. So that may never be beaten. It's pretty much they had 42 or 3 pounds. They had 3.06 pound average for crappie. It's like catching 10 pound average in bass. That's what that was. That's what they did. Yeah. And then Kyle, his highest finish that he's ever had in the MLF. He got fourth place at Smith Lake. So I called them all. I called Kyle and said, hey man, you got to do it. It's goofy. Grab your jersey, grab your trophy. And we met at Mazzio's, and I carried that big old NPFL trophy in, and we stood in line and ordered the lady at Mazzio's. Not impressed with the trophies, by the way. She was kind of like, okay. But there was some guys there that were like, okay, you can't just come in touting trophies, wearing jerseys in the middle of the week and not tell us what the heck's going on. Yeah. So we told them what was going on, about having a connection all the way back from high school days.
That's awesome.
And in Oklahoma, half the crowd was fishing fans, so they were asking us, Yeah.
My dad, when I was a kid, he used to have a thing. We would wear our jerseys everywhere, right? When we first got jerseys, we thought it was so cool. We'd be like leaving a Fishers of Men tournament, walking into a McDonald's wearing an old embroidered jersey. And my dad used to say, right, they think we're here to change out the Coke machines. That was always my dad's line. He's like, yeah, we're just here to change the Coke machines, because jerseys weren't a thing then. We were ahead of the curve. We should not have had them on, but we did. No, we had patches. Yeah, we had patches, but I had some embroidering, man. It was before all this dye sublimation stuff, all the dye sub. So, dude, you're on your way to Sam Rayburn. What's going on down there? I know BPT's down there. Are you fixing to go down there and just jump in that thing, see if they'll let you in?
Yeah, I'm gonna follow them around I'm gonna harass them until they invite me.
Yeah.
No. So I jumped into an ABA series. ABA decided to do a solo series this year. And it's a boater only deal, and it's just like a $600 entry fee, $20,000 to winner. But I want to stay active in between the NPFL schedules, and this thing fit perfect. The first event was on Toledo, like 2 or 3 weeks before our event on Eufaula.
You finished second or third there?
I finished fifth or fourth.
Fifth,
fourth. Yeah.
Yeah, top 5 though. Yeah. Top 5.
Yeah, top 5 for sure. Which was a good deal. I'd been to Toledo one time before. I actually felt like it was a continuation from what I found at Toledo Bend into Eufaula. I used the same skill sets. I used the same everything.
Interesting.
And honestly, I thought this one down here on Rayburn, and between now and the Wright Patman, they're in the same region of the state of Texas. And I know it's going to be 3 or 4 weeks early, but it's going to give me a little bit of taste test to just stay with the fish, to know what's going on with the spawn, and stay fishing, stay competitive, stay active. So that's what I'm doing right now.
That's awesome, dude. Well, what's the most surprising thing that's happened to you since winning the inaugural NPFL event? Have you had any?
Yeah, it's easy.
Okay.
I got a phone call on Monday or Tuesday. And I guess I'd made the joke when I was on live, and I've done it several times. So just kind of one of my things. When you find one works, you got to keep rolling with it. You know what I mean? So I made the joke about being a dual sport athlete because I fish crappie and bass.
Okay.
And so I got this phone call, and this deep voice said, "I heard you said you was the best dual sport athlete," and I thought to myself, this is Bo Jackson.
No
way. And I said, well, Clay's got a relationship with Bo. He's friends with Bo, Clay from Express. And I said, I didn't say I was the best. I said I was the greatest dual sport athlete.
Yeah.
And I said, you ought to know, because Bo knows everything.
Bo knows.
And he said, I'm going to save you from a 3 a.m. a big man showing up with a baseball bat at 3 a.m. I'm going to let you take me fishing. So we quasi-scheduled. Yeah. So that's the coolest thing.
Come on, man. Clay coming through, man.
Yeah.
I want to have Bo on the podcast. I'm working on that. But that, dude, how crazy that's been. I'm speechless. That's hard for me.
Yeah.
For Bo to say that's cool, dude. Talk about being that dual threat, that going from the crappie world, you're a live scope guy, man. But there was one of your buddies in this thing too, Kevin Rogers, who's right there in that same wheelhouse too. Do you think that transfers over to the bass world?
Well, it does. They transfer back and forth. And so, I'm originally a bass guy. I started fishing when I was young. First thing I fished for was crappie. So, I had experience with crappie, but when I went and did the tour on the crappie side of things, it was a lot of my bass skills that were transferred to crappie. And, I had to adjust a little bit. And I 100% feel like there's a correlation between being able to understand the bass and the crappie, a predator and a prey. Rick Clunn, you've heard him say, study the mouse, not the owl, or something like that.
Yeah.
That saying. And it's one of those things, it's 100%. I've learned over the years when I'm crappie fishing that a good day of bass fishing is a bad day to be crappie fishing, and a good day of crappie fishing is a bad day to be bass fishing. It's really funny how you'll go into a pocket and all the bass will be up and the crappie are gone. They're hiding. And then you pull in there another day, maybe high bluebird, sunny, calm conditions, and there's crappie. They're everywhere. They're floating everywhere, and you catch it, and there's no bass to be found. And so you'll learn the correlation between watching the environment and how they're behaving. I may not see a bunch of bass, but if I see crappie and I see the way they're behaving, it can clue me into what the bass are doing and how they're behaving.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, for instance, as you follow brush piles, I think it was day 2 or day 1. I was whacking the crappie. I don't know if you got.
I saw it.
Yeah. And it told me, hey man, these crappie here aren't afraid, like they should be of some bass. So I knew the bass weren't as up high as and it was telling me that by the way the crappie were feeding on that. But. So
what kind of adjustment do you make when you see that? Is that when you pick up the shaky head more than the jerk bait in that situation?
That's when I did that. So that was day 1. I did pick up the shaky head on that specific spot, and had caught a 5 with that shaky head in there. So.
I remember that 5-pounder well, man. That woke me and Dudley up. It woke us up, man. I think watching you and Dudley and I were looking, of course, they couldn't see us on camera when they're showing you guys, and he and I are just shaking our head looking, and you're like, oh, like when you hook the first double, you're like, oh, here comes another one. And you just let him like have line. And then but dude, you've got confidence in live scope like nobody I've ever seen. There are a lot of guys that are really, really good with it, right? Like we've seen Patrick Walters really get dialed in with it on the elites, but you take it to the next level. And I've got to ask, how many orders for live scope did the Bass Tank get after NPFL Live? Because I feel like they're back ordered anyways. My dad's been trying to get one for like months now. He's mad at me. He's like,
we have over 200 in stock. So if you know anybody that thinks they're back ordered, they need to go to the basstank.com right now and throw it in. We keep heavy stock. We do it because we believe in it and we know it's the real deal. And we built our business around it. And not only do we build our business around it, but we pioneered techniques and we go on the trail and put our money where our mouth is.
No doubt.
So, we love to we call it catching, not fishing. That's what we've coined that from the beginning with the live scope. It's a sense, man. It's not the magic thing that you're just going to buy, put on your boat, and you're all of a sudden going to become, Patrick Walters. But it's an added sense that you don't have that you need to compete at the highest level, So I use my down and my side imaging just as much as I use my live scope. It's just during the tournament time when I'm live, you see me use my live scope because that's kind of my final sense to catch. But I used in graphing, my mapping, my down and my side and my 2D just as much as live scope. It was just as important for practice to find and locate those fish. So it's the same tools that we've used for the last 10 years.
So for the folks at home, you're hearing so much about live scope, but when you're actually idling around finding brush piles like at Eufaula, when you find one on 2D, on side, on down view, do you then jump up on the trolling motor and look at it with live scope, or do you wait and come back later? What's your process in that? Because I find myself anymore using live scope probably way too much. Like I just ride around looking on the trolling motor a ton, just because I love it. I'm obsessed with it. Especially after watching 21 hours of John Soukup coverage. I'm like, oh wow. But I've been obsessed with it since day one. It's just a lot of fun. But is that something you do, or do you wait till game time to do that?
No, it's a little bit of both. It depends on how tuned in I'm already on them. In practice, the first brush pile I found that had fish in it was probably 30 minutes into practice. So when I found that brush pile, honestly, it was sitting just like I knew it should have been. It was really close to the bank. The spot, I mean, literally by the end of the tournament, there was beds. I could sit on the brush pile and see beds at the same time. And so, I was looking for that. And, there was, initially I was looking for big environments, that would house a lot of fish. And so that was easy to find. Once I found that, I would go and I'd mark for about 30 minutes to an hour within probably a mile section. And then I would just sit, I set little icons that tell me different things. And then I would go back and I would run those troll motor down, drop them. And, I might only drop and look at for 10 seconds and go. And then I would change the icon based on what I saw fish wise. I might have, some preconceived notions of what I was going to see. And then when I saw it for sure. So then I would go back, and after a while I'd end up editing my icons and going back and like these that I thought were so special. They were like second or third tier, spots now. And so once you kind of got that established, I'd made, day one of practice, I went ahead and fished a little bit more than day 2 and 3. I caught, 15 and a half pounds, and I could have had 30 to 50 bites. I mean, it was just, day 1 was pretty easy. And so when I saw that allowed me on day 2 and day 3 to not have to cast as much, not put the trolling motor down as much. I kind of already knew when I saw it that matter of fact, day 1 of the tournament where I started, that area, I only put the trolling motor down on one of the 15 brush piles that were in there, and I never made a cast in the whole area in practice. So
wow,
I had proven out that pattern other areas, and so when I saw it, it led me to, as practice went on and as I was around other boats, that I wanted to kind of find those things that were not as obvious to see, man. There were some really obvious brush piles to find that I fished in the tournament days that just, the fish weren't trigger. I think they were down there with helmets on, man. Everybody that stopped was stopping at those spots. Yeah. So you had to find the one else.
So if I get in John Soukup's boat, what's the icon I'm looking for? What's your go-to for the juice? Is it just a big trophy? What is it?
You're looking for that little fish, the little fish with the number 9 on it, the red one.
Okay.
That's mine.
That's the one, huh?
Yeah. So a pin is something, there's something interesting here. A tree is a tree. I use the weedy icon for like a brushy tree or a green tree. I use a fish symbol for if I think there's a fish there. 1, I know there's a fish there. 5, which is yellow, means there's fish there, but not the sizes that I want or not as many. And then the 9 means there's at least 9 in there. They're big, like that's the spot. So,
okay. So when I get to Wright Patman, I'm climbing in this express and I just want to go through everything looking for those icons.
Yeah. We'll see how many 9s I got. I had around 20 that I knew were legit 9s that you follow. So I think I told you that on day 1.
Yeah, you did. No, the night before you did. And I told Dudley, I was like, he says he's got 200 piles, but 20 of them got fish, man.
Yeah.
That's what you said, man.
And when I say they have fish, I mean they got a lot of fish, like a
good
lot
numbers.
Yeah, not just 1 to 5, like a ridiculous amount of fish, which I didn't know, and it took fishing through the tournament to find out in the environment that it was still a timing thing. Just because they were there in 1 hour of the day didn't mean they were there at another hour of the day. And for some reason, the piles that had a lot of fish always on there, they were really inactive. The ones that would be naked 1 hour, and then maybe once you figured out the right hour for those fish to come through, those were the active ones. Those are ones that would actually would feed. So it was kind of tricky because
Interesting.
you can go sit on a pile that had tons of fish on it for 2 or 3 hours and not even get a bite, and every cast you're casting at them, or you just keep rotating the ones that were the right ones, and then all of a sudden you show up and they're there, and it's those schools that were actually schooled and feeding and pushing together that would fire. So
that's unbelievable, man. I'm so grateful I got to watch it play out just like everybody else. If you guys aren't following John or the Bass Tank on YouTube, you need to be, because this guy gives up the juice. He gave up a lot on NPFL Live, actually more than I thought he would. I was like, I can't believe some of this stuff's coming out of his mouth. Dudley was looking at me like, what? Like, yeah, he's giving up the goods, man. But you're an educator, man. Like, and you do it proudly. Like, you really like for people, like you said, it's catching, not fishing, and that's so cool of you, because you could keep it under your hat and win a lot more money. And look, even giving up the goods, you're gonna be hard to keep up with. I have a feeling in 2021. I think.
We'll see. We'll see, man. You put the pressure on me.
Oh yeah, you're
before.
For sure.
Yeah, that stuff, man.
But here's the deal: you backed it up. You backed it up.
Yeah.
Now it's not my fault anymore. It's all your fault, dude. It's all your fault.
Yeah. My wife, she came home with a check and everything, and she says, "Well, now that I know that you can actually do it, she's going to put some more. She's putting more pressure on me too."
Yeah,
so,
the wife and kids after Wright Patman, if you don't come home with another big cardboard check and be like, loser, get out of here.
Yeah. Well, she's getting used to some good finishes. There was a crappie tour event last year, and she gave me a text and she said, "How'd you do?" And I said, "Oh, we got fourth." And she responded, "Sorry." I was like, "Sorry, like that's okay, It's a top 10 out of 100 boats, I'm okay with it. If you're
feeling good, leaving, she's like, "Get out of here."
Yeah, sorry. Better luck next time.
Don't come home, John. That's awesome. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on. I won't keep you parked at a Dairy Queen for very long on your way to Rayburn, man. Thank you so much. And, dude, congratulations again. I told you last week I wanted to get you on. And, of course, we had awesome Hunter Bogman on last week, which I'm still pumped about that. Great dude. And but ladies and gentlemen, the champ, John Hookup. So, hey, is anybody calling you Hookup around Oklahoma now?
It's stuck, man. It's stuck. Yeah. Like a 5-aught, it's drilled in. I already signed the weigh-in trailer. I put Hookup there, and I know who gave it to me, so I know where it came from.
Listen, we had our technical difficulties. We had things, but when that came out of my mouth, I was like, yep. Yep, that's it. It was just one of those randoms, and Dudley was like, and then Dudley starts saying it, and then Al starts saying it on the way in stage. I'm like, "You're welcome, John. That one's gonna stick."
Well, here's I didn't get to watch any of that stuff, but by weigh in one, they're already saying it out loud, so I'm already hearing what's going on. And I got friends messaging me, the hookup. And I'm like, what is this about? Well. So dude, it's cool, man. It's fun, really, dude. Really cool.
We're gonna have a lot of fun the rest of the year on NPFL, man. It's a great group of guys. It's so much fun.
It gave me a conscience, though. I when I'm fishing, when I'm on live, no one's in the boat with you, right? So it's not like you can tell, and you can't. It's not like you can tell the camera, "Get the net," and I don't ever say "got one" no more. So I say "hooked up." And so every time I'm like hooked up, and I'm like, voice in my head. I'm like, "Oh, look at that guy."
You're staying on brand, man. I like it.
Yeah,
that's important.
Hey, man, in regards to the NPFL, I've said this on a few interviews, and I just want to reiterate it, man. I know you can't really say it about yourself, but the work that you guys have done, the effort that you and Fat Cat and David Dudley and the NPFL, the owners group's done. I have never been to an event from the smallest jackpot all the way to the Forcewood Cup and even on the crappie side where there was just no negativity, man. It was just pure excitement for the sport. I mean, I feel like everybody's rooting for each other,
Yeah, for sure.
I think that if we can continue that, I think there's just a place for fandom to come across and to it just reminds me of what it was like to watch bass when I was a kid. And you know what I mean? Just like the pure 5 fish limit and everybody kind of just excited to be in the fishing world. You know, so I'm really thankful to be a part of it. I joked around early about, you know, we were like buying into a low stock and if this thing takes off, but I mean, it has. I mean, you guys' hard work, it goes a long way. I mean, we can go catch a few fish, but it's the production side of things that's really going to make this thing take off.
Well, man, it's there's going to be a lot of people know John Soukup by the end of the year, and hopefully a few more know Low Budget Live and Luke Duncan because of it too, man. It was so much fun at you following. I echo what you said. I'll take me out of it. I mean, we had a great time, man. We're fortunate to get asked to be a part of it, but the ownership group. Dude, my hat's off to those dudes and how much time, energy, and effort they put into it. And you know, like I know, working on a skeleton crew, right? I mean, there's not 40 people around putting this big production together. It's just not. And to pull it off like they did, man, and like you said, no negativity, just a lot of good vibes. And I can't wait for Texas, man. Are you just going to stay down there? Or are you going to come back home?
Come on now. I got 4 weeks. I may, my tournament ends Saturday. I may drive by and drop in, Wright Patman before cutoff. I think cutoff's, Monday. So Sunday is like the last day and graph around for a day. The lake's up real high right now. So I don't know if that's going to be consistent or not. So if it does stay up, I think it's going to be a different kind of tournament than the first event. So
yeah, for sure. It sounds like it could be interesting.
I hear rumors that there are gigantoids.
That's what I hear too.
Like, that 30 pounds is pretty common. So
that's what I hear.
That should make for, some fun. It's probably going to be some major sacks and then a pretty good drop off. I mean, it's a smaller lake. We'll see what happens, but a crowded lake usually ends up making it more difficult. But some big fish and some, So for me, I'll put it out there. I'm looking for just 5 fish a day. That's all I want. I want to weigh 5. I want 5 fish every day, and that's my goal.
All right, I'd say if you do that out there, there'll be big ones. From what I'm hearing about that lake, dude. So, looking forward to it. The AOY leader, you're unofficial. Unofficially official.
Largest rookie of the year race leader.
That's right. I have not thought about that. Oh my God, I'm stealing
that rookie of the year.
I'm stealing that. Are you bunch of damn rookies?
Yeah.
John, I appreciate you, dude. Good luck at Sam Rayburn. Keep the streak rolling, and I'll see you at Wright Patman, brother.
All right, thank you, man.
See you, man. John Soukup. Hope y'all enjoyed that as much as I did. I think a lot of John, man. I've gotten to know him over the last few months and just a great guy, great family man, and even better angler. And I can't wait to call it the game, as Dudley says, the rest of the year for John and the rest of the guys in the NPFL. So make sure you're tuning in to that. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this silliness, listening to this silliness every single week. I appreciate you more than words. It's fun, man. It's fun. I said it last week, got a little choked up, got a little emotional. It's okay. I was riding a wave. We do that from time to time at the LBL Bar and Grill. But I just appreciate the fact that I get to do this in some capacity for a living. And it's awesome being in this industry. Fishermen are good people. Very good people, and I'm proud to know you low-lifers, even if I don't know each and every one of you. Hopefully I'll get to meet some of you, some more at the Bassmaster Classic this year. Planning some things for Tejas. Hopefully we can put another LBL live together down there, have a good time. Me, Stupid Darian, Big C, maybe Shannon Wheeler on the fiddle. It's going to be a good time, good time. But thank y'all each and every week for tuning in. I appreciate you. I'm going to take you out with a little Biloxi Blues, as always, because that's what we do here at LBL Not So Live. Thank y'all. Make sure to hug your mama and hug your daddy. Here's Biloxi Blues, and I will see y'all next time.
Spanish moss and Civil War ghosts, well, I'm gonna leave them in the past. Any direction, Lord, I'll be fine. It don't matter east or west. North, south, wherever the wind blows, I'm leaving those burdens at rest. This highway, it does not know my name, and I don't care, no, I don't care. Heading my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare. Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.